Okay, we're set up here to do an experiment to see if a hydrophilic oil, like almond oil, gets absorbed by grenadilla, because there have been studies that have shown that mineral oil does not get absorbed, and I don't doubt that. But I do doubt that oil doesn't get absorbed. It depends what kind of oil. So I'm going to flip the camera around here, and we're going to take a look. Oh, I'm not allowed to do that. Okay, I'm going to pause and then come back. Okay, so here is the scale we're going to use, and it measures in grams. And I have here a calibration weight that is used for the let-off weight on pianos, showing 74.7 grams. Also, just for the heck of it, I'm going to use a bore gauge to measure, and this is a bore gauge calibration tool here. So right now it's measuring exactly 16 millimeters, which is what the gauge says it should be, 15.996. And we'll go ahead and weigh each of these. I have a buffet barrel that weighs 34.2. I have a Hadash early barrel. Both of these complements of Larry Guy's early collection of barrels here, 31.7, and then a barrel from LeBlanc and a Rhapsody, and that one is 36.4. Next, I'll measure them and show you how I measure them, and then we'll soak them. Here I have the barrel mounted in a V-block just to help stabilize it because I don't have enough hands. And I've got the gauge so it just goes in, and it's measuring at 15.89 millimeter diameter, and it just enters the hole there. And I'm going to do that for all the barrels and get the diameter of the entry and the exit on all of them. I've recorded all three barrels here, and I decided to record the outside diameter as well. And I came across an anomaly that the inside of the holes weren't necessarily round, so I took the largest diameter. So you'll see some scrapings on my top diameter and bottom diameter measurements there as I corrected them. But these are the numbers I've come up with. I also measured the length. And it's curious to see that the wood for the LeBlanc seems to be denser than the other two because it's heavier, even though it's the shortest of the barrels and has the largest diameter holes, entrance and exit diameter. Anyhow, let's soak them. I'm going to place them in this cup here and cover it with almond oil, and we'll see how it goes. So we'll take these guys, put them in. This is a certified New York City Zabar's mug that has worn away. Okay, here they are, soaking. It's a very expensive experiment. The almond oil is $16 for a little bottle, but I use it, and I have a bunch of clarinets, so I'll go ahead and treat them. Talk to you soon. I'm going to cover this up with a piece of saran wrap and a rubber band. It's been 8 days, and I'm going to now pull the barrels out of the oil here and allow them to drain, and then I'm going to dry them as thoroughly as I can before we do any weighing or anything like this. So as you can see, they're quite drenched in oil. There's the LeBlanc. I think that's the buffet. And then finally, the Hadash. So I'm going to let these drain for a little while here on the paper towel, and then I'm going to actually dry them off and wipe them as clean as I can. Back in a second. Few minutes. Slippery. I'll do this a couple of more times for each one until they look bone dry. Okay, I've got the light on, but just so you can see, it's shiny, but it's as dry as I can get them to be. No oil inside, no oil outside. And we'll go ahead and use our scale here. And once again, verify the calibration by using our weight here. And we're still 74.7. I think it said 74.7 before, but I'll have to review the video to find out. We'll double check that. Okay, so here's the buffet, and it weighs now 34.9, and it used to weigh 34.2. Here is the Kadash. It weighs 33, and it used to weigh 31.5. That's 2 grams. That's a lot. Here's the LeBlanc, 36.5, and it was 36.4. And that's interesting. That's the densest wood we had, and it appears not to have absorbed much at all. And the lightest one absorbed the most. Interesting. I'll continue with measurements after I document this. Okay, now recalibrating this guy, I did not recalibrate, I just set it on a square surface, and indeed we're at 15.999, so the device is measuring exactly the same as it did before. This is a reference diameter hole here. And so I will mount all of these guys and remeasure their diameters, entrance bore and exit bore. Oh, whoops, evidently I was doing some mouthpiece work and I changed the height of this. So I'll go ahead. You know how this happens. I stick this guy in here, I retract them, move it in, and this is up. Get it right out to the end. Okay, so rather than show you my shaky handwriting, I'm just going to point out a few things here. It seems that the heavier the barrel, the more dense, the less oil it soaked up. You can see that the heaviest barrel increased the littlest amount. And by the way, I would say that my accuracy is 0.01 probably in terms of repeatability, because here I'm measuring the length, which didn't change really on the other 2 barrels, and I really doubt it changed here on the LeBlanc barrel. But the Buffet barrel was the second lightest and took on the second most amount of weight, and then finally the lightest barrel of them all took on proportionately the most amount of weight. But what's really interesting to me and really affects the sound is that the diameter at the top of the bore decreases significantly, like really significantly sometimes. So I know these tapers really spell out quite a bit of change in the performance of an instrument. Look at this. Practically 0.1 millimeter change in for the buffet barrel. The outside diameter changes a little bit, but really my guess is that due to the amount of constraint of the structure, that the swelling occurs to the inside is more than on the outside. But at any rate, proof that using a hydrophilic oil is recommended because it soaks in. And now the next experiment, what I'm going to do, I have another buffet barrel that has not been oiled at all. That's the same vintage that came from Larry Guy's collection. And here's the oiled one. But I will weigh it and weigh this, and then I'm going to drop them in water for a day. And then we'll see which barrel takes on more water. It'd be an interesting follow-up and corollary as well. So thanks for your time, and hope this puts some myths to rest. Okay, so the second part of this experiment, we're going to turn on our scale, and we're going to validate the measurement, 74.7, like it always does. This is the barrel that we soaked in the almond oil, and it weighs in at 34.8. And this is the barrel that we weighed that is dry and has not been treated, 36.3, 34.9, 34.8. Okay, so I'm going to drop these into a glass of water. I'm just going to write down the numbers before I do. This one is 36.3. And this one is 34.7. That's the oil one. Okay, so both of these go in here, and we'll let them soak overnight. There you see them in the water. And let's see what happens tomorrow. Not that I recommend doing this with your own barrels. Okay, I'm back. I decided to let this go only 4 hours. One, I didn't want to cause the wood to crack or anything. And also I thought it would be more like a long orchestra rehearsal or something like that, to be subject to only that amount of time worth of soaking. All right, so I'm drying these off. And I can tell almost which is which, just because one of them had a slick surface and the other has a very, very wet, flat surface, this one here. So I'm drying. And let's also dry out the bore. Okay, there we are. I'm just going to turn on the light here and see if I've got that all dry. Okay, I've allowed them to air dry just for a bit. And we're going to put on the reference weight, 74.7. 35.0, that was the oiled one. 36.7. Well, the previous weight was 36.3 for this guy, so he gained 0.4. The previous weight for this one was 34.7, so he gained 0.3. Just marginally less water absorption. And that's all. Okay. So oiling slows the rate of water absorption somewhat, but oil does get absorbed as well as water.